perched high in the dusty rafters of the ancient Willowood Manor. Bartholomew watched the moonlight paint silver squares on the floor far below. He was a very small ghost, barely the size of a pillow, with wispy edges that shimmered like fog and eyes like two mournful stars. Years, perhaps decades, had flowed through the empty halls since his first confused wisp of consciousness, each one echoing with the profound silence of solitude. He drifted past forgotten portraits whose eyes seemed to follow him with pity, through ballrooms where phantom music teased his memory, and down hallways thick with the scent of time. His greatest wish, a simple ache deep within his spectral core, was for a friend, someone to share the moonbeams with, someone whose laughter wouldn't fade like an echo. The vast emptiness of the manor pressed in on him, a constant reminder of his invisible existence. Everything changed the day the moving vans rumbled up the gravel drive. A flurry of activity erupted below as a family, a kind-faced mother, a gentle father, and a small, thoughtful girl named Elara, breathed life back into the old house. Bartholomew watched, a mixture of excitement and terror swirling inside him, as boxes were unpacked and rooms filled with warmth. Elara, with her bright eyes that seemed to notice everything and her quiet hum as she arranged her books, fascinated him most. He felt a spark of desperate hope. Perhaps this child, so full of life, yet often sitting alone reading in the window seat, wouldn't be frightened. Perhaps she could see beyond the dust and shadows. He longed to drift down, to say hello, to simply be near someone real. Bartholomew's first attempts at friendship were timid disasters. One evening, as Elara sat curled with a book, he gently floated her favorite red crayon towards her, hoping the small miracle would delight her instead. She gasped, eyes wide, and scrambled back on the sofa, whispering weird to herself. Another time, filled with nervous energy, he tried to mimic the tune she hummed, letting out a thin, warbly whistle. The unexpected sound made her drop her glass of milk, which shattered on the floor, bringing her mother running. Must have been the wind, sweetheart, her mother said, mopping up the mess, while Bartholomew shrank into the curtains, heavy with disappointment. He was trying so hard, yet only causing confusion and alarm. The gap between his world and hers felt impossibly wide. His loneliness reached a suffocating peak one rainy afternoon, watching Elara build an intricate castle from colorful blocks, her concentration absolute. Bartholomew felt a surge of longing so intense it was like a physical pull. He drifted lower, lower, wanting only to be near the warmth of her creation, to admire it silently beside her. He didn't mean to touch anything, but in his yearning, his wispy form, more solid than he realized in his emotion, accidentally brushed against the tallest tower. The blocks wobbled precariously for a heart-stopping second before cascading down in a noisy, colorful avalanche right in front of Elara. She jumped, letting out a small shriek of surprise. Bartholomew froze. Mortified, he saw the flicker of fear in her eyes as she scanned the seemingly empty room. Who's there? She whispered, her voice trembling slightly. This was worse than failure. Had scared her utterly heartbroken. He fled back to the cold, familiar shadows of the attic, feeling more like a monster than a hopeful friend. Days passed. Bartholomew remained hidden in the highest, darkest corner of the attic, a small, sad smudge against the gloom. The sounds of the family below, laughter, conversation, the clatter of dishes, were a cruel reminder of the connection he craved but could never have. He watched Elara through cracks in the floorboards. She seemed quieter now, occasionally glancing warily around corners. His spectral form felt heavy with despair. He had ruined everything. The hope that had flickered so brightly was extinguished, leaving only the vast, cold loneliness he knew so well. He was destined to be alone forever, a silent observer in a world full of people who could never see or understand him. The weight of his invisibility had never felt so absolute, so final. One twilight, a profound sadness washed over Bartholomew, deeper than any had felt before. It wasn't just loneliness. It was the crushing weight of being fundamentally unseen, unknown, driven by a desperate need to express himself, even if no one would ever read it. He found an old, half-used stub of charcoal in a forgotten trunk with immense concentration, pouring all his longing and apology into the effort. He began to write on a smooth patch of the dusty attic floorboards. It was agonizingly slow work. His form kept flickering, making the charcoal difficult to grasp. Finally, after hours that felt like days, the message was complete. A shaky, childlike scrawl spelling out the truth that haunted him. Please, I am lonely ghost, I want a friend, sorry I scarred you, my name is Bartholomew. Exhausted, he dissolved into a faint mist beside his plea. Too weary even to drift, Elara, unable to sleep, decided to explore the attic for interesting old books. Her flashlight beam swept across trunks and cobwebs, finally landing on the stark, white letters against the dark wood floor. She gasped, not in fear this time, but in stunned amazement. Slowly, she knelt down, tracing the shaky words with her finger. Bartholomew? She whispered softly into the still air. A faint shimmer, like moonlight on frost, appeared near the message, slowly coalescing into the small, wispy figure of the ghost. He looked terrified, bracing for rejection, but Elara smiled, a warm, understanding smile that lit up her face. It's okay, she said gently. Being lonely is the scariest thing of all, isn't it? My name is Elara. Would you like to be friends? Bartholomew couldn't speak, but his whole form brightened, glowing with a soft, joyful light like a captured moonbeam. He nodded, a tiny, hopeful movement. The silence that followed wasn't empty anymore. It was filled with the quiet, profound understanding of a friendship found in the most unexpected of places. A promise whispered between a girl and a ghost.